Southern Tennessee Regional Health System. Pulaski is here to help you be well. Our mission is to make our community healthier, and we're your community hospital. We're committed to providing trusted care when you need it most. From wellness checks to emergencies, we're here for you and your family. Visit us today at southerntennessee.com or call 931-363-7531.
When it comes to real estate, Haney Realty and Property Management is the team you can trust. Our extensive knowledge of the market and industry allows us to help our clients with any real estate need. We know how to get results. So whether you're looking to buy, sell, or rent, let us put our expertise to work for you. Call us today at 931-347-9150 or visit HaneyRealtyPM.com to learn more. Haney Realty and Property Management, your best friend in real estate. If you're looking for a new job, let M&M Staffing be your guide. With over 20 years of experience, we know how to connect great people with great opportunities. We work with over 80 companies, so we're sure to find the perfect job for you. Our team is dedicated to helping you succeed, and our high customer satisfaction rate proves it. Ready to get started? Visit us at mnmstaffing.net or give us a call today at 931-347-4255.
For over 50 years, PES Energize has been proudly powering our community in Pulaski and Giles County, Tennessee. We're dedicated to providing safe, reliable, and innovative services. At PES Energize, we believe that serving you is a privilege. We're here for all your energy needs. Visit PESEnergize.com.
The Natural Gas Department of Pulaski is here to help you save money. Natural gas is safe, efficient, and cost-effective. It's up to 50 to 60% less expensive than electricity for home heating. Plus, it's clean and efficient, so you can feel good about your choice. Call us today for service or visit our website to learn more. Make the switch to natural gas and start saving today.
When it comes to insurance, Winterberg & Associates Insurance is the team you can trust. We offer coverage for your home, auto, business, and more. We work hard to find the best policy for you at the best price. Our personalized service means we take the time to understand your needs and make sure you understand your options. We want you to feel confident and secure with your insurance policy. Let us make insurance simple for you. Get a quote today at winterburinsurance.com or call us at 931-363-8638.
Southern Tennessee Regional Health System. Pulaski is here to help you be well. Our mission is to make our community healthier, and we're your community hospital. We're committed to providing trusted care when you need it most. From wellness checks to emergencies, we're here for you and your family. Visit us today at southerntennessee.com or call 931-363-7531.
When it comes to real estate, Haney Realty and Property Management is the team you can trust. Our extensive knowledge of the market and industry allows us to help our clients with any real estate need. We know how to get results. So whether you're looking to buy, sell, or rent, let us put our expertise to work for you. Call us today at 931-347-9150 or visit HaneyRealtyPM.com to learn more. Haney Realty and Property Management, your best friend in real estate. If you're looking for a new job, let M&M Staffing be your guide. With over 20 years of experience, we know how to connect great people with great opportunities. We work with over 80 companies, so we're sure to find the perfect job for you. Our team is dedicated to helping you succeed, and our high customer satisfaction rate proves it. Ready to get started? Visit us at mnmstaffing.net or give us a call today at 931-347-4255.
For over 50 years, PES Energize has been proudly powering our community in Pulaski and Giles County, Tennessee. We're dedicated to providing safe, reliable, and innovative services. At PES Energize, we believe that serving you is a privilege. We're here for all your energy needs. Visit PESEnergize.com.
The Natural Gas Department of Pulaski is here to help you save money. Natural gas is safe, efficient, and cost-effective. It's up to 50 to 60% less expensive than electricity for home heating. Plus, it's clean and efficient, so you can feel good about your choice. Call us today for service or visit our website to learn more. Make the switch to natural gas and start saving today.
When it comes to insurance, Winterburn and Associates Insurance is the team you can trust. We offer coverage for your home, auto, business, and more. We work hard to find the best policy for you at the best price. Our personalized service means we take the time to understand your needs and make sure you understand your options. We want you to feel confident and secure with your insurance policy. Let us make insurance simple for you. Get a quote today at winterburinsurance.com or call us at 931-363-8638.
Call, please.
Anyone commissioners present?
Great. All rise. County Court is now in session. Honorable Graham Stokes.
Mr. Reedy, will you lead us please in prayer and pledge?
Lord, thank you for today. We thank you for the rain that we've had. Thank you for giving us those things that we need. We thank you for this beautiful county that we have. We thank you for this country. I ask you, Lord, to bless those that take care of us in the military. Thank you for watching over the ones that were in the activities from past weekend, and just thank you for protecting them and taking care of them. Help us to realize that we are a great nation of a number of people, where we have more than 300 million people that are protected by less than 0.5% of that population. Help us, Lord, to be thankful to those that are in our military and that watch over us and that make great sacrifices. Lord, as we look at things in our budget, we've been stressed for quite a while over the taxes and the loss of revenue that we have and the need for extra revenue. Lord, we know that in the scheme of eternity, that perplexing things that we've been discussing and discovering and looking at, Lord, will be very unimportant. But in this present time, it is important to all of us, and we ask you to help guide us and help us to find a proper solution to the issue that will be good for carrying the county forward and doing the right things by our property owners. As we all own property, help us to realize that we really don't own anything. We have paid a price to be a steward of it for a short period of time, and then we'll leave it to someone else in whatever condition that we have improved it or denigrated it. Help us, Lord, to know that we entered this world with nothing and we'll leave this world with nothing, and we only leave behind to those that are stewards for a short while. Lord, we ask you to be with us today. Help us as we talk about various opinions of things that we need to do, that we esteem each other and we treat each other with professionality and with brotherly love. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our first order of business is always to approve the agenda as it's written. Mr. Rebelski?
What I'd like to do is, starting off, is one, I've talked to a lot of commissioners, and I've talked to, heard from them, talked to a lot of constituents. I'd like to make a motion to remove the resolution that I presented and to send it back to the budget committee for further discussion. And then to have that meeting on July the 3rd from 9 until 3, and to hope that all commissioners can be there. If it's not resolved then at that time, then we would continue on from July the 7th, an 8th meeting continuing. And then this would also restart the whole process, where we would then have to vote, bring it in, and then we would have a public hearing again, and then we would bring it to the full commission on July the 21st at 5. So that's, my motion is to remove the resolutions from this agenda and to send it back to the budget committee.
And just be specific, is these resolutions 28, 29, and 30 you're talking about?
That is correct.
Okay. So we got a motion on the floor, second from Ms. Curry. Is that second?
Yeah.
Okay, comments or discussion on striking these resolutions from the agenda? Mr. Baddour.
Thank you. I agree that this is an appropriate move at this time, and it doesn't erase the fact that we have needs that we need to address. But the people have been heard loud and clear. 28% is too much of a burden to bear, especially all at once. So we must send these budgets back. I do think the result of making cuts will at least amount to fewer roads paved and/or losing some of our best personnel. I'm thinking of the EMS. We had, as part of this budget, an 8 to 10% increase for our EMS personnel, really just to match what surrounding counties were doing. In other words, to keep their salaries competitive so that we don't lose them to Marshall County, for example. But my hope is that we can get by at current levels for now, really meaning no improvements to any of our services, and just cross our fingers that a wheel tax referendum can be presented and on the ballot, which I would believe would be in May of 26. And in the meantime, just pray that we don't lose too many good people. Unfortunately, due to a previous commitment, I'm going to miss some of these July meetings. So if you would allow me just a minute or two to mention what I would consider non-negotiables if we were to have a revised budget. It's just two things. At least at this point, I would not support a budget 2 without at least a meaningful increase or pay raise for our critical frontline EMS personnel, because they're facing increasing incentives to go work elsewhere. And I also would not support a budget 2 which changes the school system's current over-collection to fund the public school renovations as they're doing, simply because I believe the school board's plan to renovate our public schools from oldest to newest, as they've been doing, using the over-collection, is a viable plan and it's necessary. In other words, if we have to make cuts, I don't think it should be an even percentage cut across the board in all departments. I think they should be targeted cuts. But we should not shortchange our educational facilities or our life-saving services. That's the long and short of what I had to say. As for cuts, I think we all batted around ideas for several days. I had proposed cutting at least $500,000 from the highway department, and I'm not even sure I got a second on that. We never really found consensus on, or at least 11, who would vote to cut any particular thing. So we are going to have to work harder to find consensus. I think either for the ambulance remount, either delaying it or pulling it from 171 is another way to offset some costs. I'd also proposed cutting one of the two new proposed training positions at the Sheriff's Department. Not because I don't think they need it, but just to be fair, looking at cuts across the department. So, department cuts, but still, I think it's inevitable that there is at least a smaller, more reasonable percentage increase on the property tax. Combined with a wheel tax referendum this spring, if the wheel tax does not pass, and with no help from the state or federal government in sight, I think we'll be in this same situation this time next year. But I don't know how much confidence I have as to the passage of a wheel tax. I'm not sure wheel tax will pass when we have certain commissioners actively working against pursuing those better options. I know we had one commissioner take to Facebook, vow to take the lead in voting it down and quote, "Don't worry, we'll not be having a wheel tax, no new taxes." This same commissioner felt the need to clarify in numerous public statements since then that the wheel tax has nothing to do with the property tax and vice versa. I think this is simply wrong and therefore misleading. It's fine to take the lead, just don't mislead. There was nothing about the wheel tax proposal that we passed out of the Budget Committee in February, making it only for ambulance, building, or for capital improvements. It was simply, the minutes to that meeting reflect that. There was nothing tying it to what we were going to use the wheel tax for. It was simply that the idea of a wheel tax got out of the committee. I personally think the wheel tax should be dedicated to the highway department's operations, which people I think could better understand. Part of registered vehicle on the road helps pay for the maintenance of the roads. Just my thoughts. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Bedore. I appreciate you sharing all that. We're trying to deal with the motion, obviously, but since you're not going to be here for the next month, I'm glad you were able to share that. So the motion on the floor, which we should have most of our debate around, is whether to send these three resolutions back to the Budget Committee for July 3rd. That's the extent of your motion, right? So, okay. Ms. Goolsby.
I'm just going to echo what Mr. Bedore said. I do apologize, but I will not be here next week. This is a vacation I planned specifically for when the budget was done. So I apologize, and I pretty much echo everything he said. I'm not going to take up any more time before my constituents. I do apologize. I am representing you the best I can. I just made a vacation after the fact. So, thank you.
If I could just make one comment on your next area. So I knew that this was not going to pass. And part of my job is to have a plan B in action. So what we didn't want to do is have this fail and then not have a plan to move forward into July and get a budget together. So that's why I went ahead and publicized the July 3rd meeting as a backup, and it sounds like that's what you all are debating. But I do, for all of y'all, and I put this in an email, but also for the public, like we currently have, I think, a 21st of July or our next regularly scheduled meeting. Based on the budget calendar, potential budget calendar that I talked about with Beth, we may have to slide that out closer to the 24th or 25th of July, just based on all the public notices required. So as soon as we have something ironed out, I'll let you know that date. Okay, Terry?
First question is probably to Beth. Do we legally have to have a vote before we can send it back, or what is the guidelines on that?
Well, county attorney can be. Do you want to ask Beth that? Because there's lots of audit.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yep.
Do we legally have to have a vote tonight before we can send it back to the budget, or can we just assume and send it anyway?
What you're getting ready to do is vote on the budget, but you're voting to send it back.
No, I'd like to send it back, but I didn't know if we could, I didn't want to get in trouble with, can we do it like this?
You can, because it is an agenda item, so I feel like, and again, I'm not speaking for the county attorney, that you need to follow through with a vote. And going through practices of what we've done in the past, we've always had a budget approved. For two reasons. Number one was because we have to, according to Financial Management Act, have a budget approved in July. Now, I don't know the consequences if we don't, that's just what's in the TCA for that. The biggest thing, if I can, I'd let you know what's actually gonna happen by not having a budget approved by July 1. And again, this is just for FYI. I mean, I think we know the outcome which this vote's gonna be before we even say this, but I think it's important for everybody to understand. So we're gonna be operating on a continuing budget, which means any raises, whether it's step raises, whether it's merit raises, whatever it is, cannot be put into the budget. And so what we'll have to do is then once you do approve a budget, then we'll have to go back and retro every employee in the county. I hope and pray you will have come to a conclusion before August 15th or before, for the sake of the school system. Also, another thing that Dr. Beard just pointed out to me is it will also be somewhat of a violation on teacher contracts or salary certificated for their salary agreements, if you will. They have to be printed, signed, supposed to be a month prior to they start working. So we already know right now we're not going to have a budget by July 15th, and my staff, there's no way that's physically possible, even if we had. We'll be in a crunch if y'all approve something tonight to get all that done timely. So we're going to be in violation there with the school board, their policies and the reference in TCA. So we have that also. Another thing that brought to my attention today is also, it's really causing a hardship on our school system on trying to hire folks. We had I think it was a BCBA position that was put in the budget, which is a new position. And now technically, they can't hire that position. So we may miss out on an opportunity to even get anybody before this end of the school year because we can't legally do that. We can hire no hiring unless it is to replace a position, obviously. No raises can be done. The administrative of trying to get that done, going back into each employee and doing a salary adjustment for back pay, it's going to be an enormous task. I do want to go ahead and say I hope everybody here will bear with me in my office because we're going to have to do year-end close or first run audit. I have to have books closed by, I think it's July 22nd, and now we're going to have this on top of this. It's going to be real difficult for us to be in two places at once, but my staff is here and we will do whatever it takes to make sure this process is working. I want everybody to understand that even though we're delaying the process potentially to 20 days, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but the fundamentals of what it's going to do to county government is a really big deal. And all I can say is I hope that through this process, we've all learned something and that we can make sure that going forward, we try to do whatever it takes to make sure we don't put ourselves in this position again, to make sure we can keep county government going the way that it needs to. But did I answer your question and then some?
Yes, ma'am. And Graham, on the second part, I feel like I'd be justified by answering the accusation that come from across the room. Yeah, I'm the one that took the lead on the wheel tax, talking about shooting it down. And yes, we did talk about it's going to be a $50 wheel tax. It did pass the budget February the 7th, and it was talked about the direction it would go would be only to the capital projects, which would consist of the ambulance building and renovation of the courthouse. It had nothing to do with the budget we're in here today about. So that $50 would have been just for that, then would still be here. Grant, maybe you can answer that, because that's what we talked about.
I think I'm not going to get in the middle of y'all's debate.
No, he said it, he's made his post about it before, but that's exactly what we talked about. It would be $50, and that money would go to the capital funds project. And then we even talked about then that it may not even be enough at $50 to even make the payment on what we were looking at then at $50. So yeah, I don't feel like I misled anyone, or had we done that, it would have went on to the full commission. We'd be looking at a $50 wheel tax and a 28% property tax right now. And the cuts that we had talked about, the no voters, we're at a 4-3 deficit. We're underdogs. I hope if we send this back, I hope people will be open to looking after the public sentiment has went out of not wanting this 28% tax. Maybe they'll listen this time. Maybe we'll get something done. Thank you.
Well, on that point, I think our representative republic worked, right? Everybody heard, and that's why we're here to, and to answer your really original question, which is, can we send this back to committee, or is that legal? Really, I understand your motion to send it back to committee, but you're also rejecting the budget. You're voting no on the budget and sending it back to committee. Yeah.
That'd be good.
Mr. Wamble.
That covered my question.
Okay. Mr. Savage?
It really doesn't matter a whole lot, but I'm going to say it since it's been brought up. From a legal standpoint, you cannot legally tie future elected officials and how they're going to spend money. So regardless, wheel tax funds could be used for whatever you wanted it to be used for.
Mr. Wilbur?
I was wondering why it needed to be sent back. Why can't people just go ahead and vote on it? If it fails, then be sent back. People want to know who's for it. People want to know who's for this budget and against this budget.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This vote to send it back, if anybody wants this vote, or I'm sorry, this budget, current budget to go forward, vote no to send it back to the committee because you want to pass it.
That was all wanted to go forward before everybody forced their opinion not wanting it.
Well, that's again where
and then you said you knew it wasn't going to pass. You thought it was going to pass. Everybody come and voice their opinion.
Yeah, that's where I think the public comment worked. And that's where I think some people were yes votes and they heard from their constituents and now they're not supportive of it.
Well, I think we just need to vote yes or no. That way people will know who's for it.
That's what this is though, Tracy. I mean, we're going to vote.
No, it's not.
This is a vote to say no to this budget and send it back. Any other? Yes, Mr. Jones.
So a lot of people were here to express their opinion. If we vote to send this back, are they allowed to express their opinion on the budget?
So that's a good question because this is off the agenda. Normally, you would say if it's not on the agenda, there's no public comment on it. But if you all want to suspend the rules and let people speak on the budget, that would be y'all's call to suspend the rules.
Okay. But not at this moment.
If we pull this from the agenda, then they wouldn't be able to speak on the agenda items that we're pulling off, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
And then, for the public, if you're here to give comment, that's up to the commission to, allow you to come and speak if this is stricken from the agenda. But you wouldn't be commenting on the 28% tax hike anymore because that's probably what's going to be rejected. I would, again, you're welcome to speak here if that's what the commission decides, but really the next time that they get together, July 3rd, that's when the sausage is going to get made again and we need more public comment. So that would be another meeting you could attend. Okay, hands are popping up. Mr. Jones.
Yeah, after we get through with this right here, I will ask that we suspend the rules because these people may.
That's to come.
That's
okay.
after.
Different
issue with this.
Yes, Mr. Reed.
I'd like to make a motion that we table this motion that's been made until the scheduled time that it was placed on the agenda. That
Okay.
we leave it on the agenda so further finance can take place at the proper time. And so I'd like to make the motion that we leave.
It's really an
table
amendment.
his motion. We have to pick it up before the meeting's over. We pick it up at the proper time.
Okay, motion to table, I'm pretty sure is a majority vote. So is there a second to table this? Second from Mr. Wamble. Any comments or discussion on tabling this motion? Mr. Bador.
Do we not only make changes to the agenda at the top, like what we're doing? And so if we table it and move on with the rest of, I don't know that we can remove something from the agenda late in the agenda. Or at least procedurally, we don't normally do that.
I think the motion is to strike these resolutions, and the motion from Mr. Reedy is to table that until we get to that point in the agenda. Correct?
Correct. Then, what we have to do is we would just make the motion then that we do not vote on these three items.
Okay. Any other comments or discussion on tabling this motion? Okay, while she's getting the software ready for a vote, so an 11-vote majority can table this, and then we would address it as it's currently in the agenda. Yes, Mr. Wilbur?
Go ahead.
Okay. So a yes vote is to table. Y'all, Harry, David, you're working?
What are we voting on now?
Table it. This is a yes vote.
What were you tabling, just to pull this off the agenda? That was all, was that the motion to pull it off the agenda or to send it back?
Okay, this gets back to what Mr. Reedy was just explaining. The original motion was to pull it out of the agenda.
Right.
Mr. Reedy's motion was to table that, meaning that we would not pull it off the agenda and that we would address it in turn as it's currently written into the agenda.
Because one time you said it was gonna be pulled from agenda, then you said it was gonna be pulled from agenda and sent back.
Well, I'm going with the flow here. There was a new motion to table this.
So what are we voting on now, to table it?
To table it, which it means it's going to be addressed as it's currently written into the agenda. Mr. Adams?
So you're gonna pull 28, 29, and 30?
No, sir.
We're gonna vote.
No, sir. So, Mr. Reedy just made a motion to table that original motion, which is we are not going to pull it out of the agenda, and we're going to address it in turn as it's currently written in the agenda.
But what we're going to address is 28, 29, and 30.
The motion to table means that we're going to address it as it's written in the agenda. I can't simplify it more than that. If that's what you want to do, that's a yes vote.
It's gonna go back either way you vote, but you gotta vote.
Mr. Butler?
Would it not be simpler for?
Votes 12 ayes and 9 noes.
Okay, Mr. Butler?
I was just gonna say, would it not be simpler just to withdraw both motions and let it flow as it normally
That's
would?
what we just did. So, all right. So we'll deal with your motion when we get to that point in time in the meeting.
Motion to approve the agenda as written.
Yes, thank you.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes.
And a second from Mr. Hopkins. Comments or any corrections on the minutes? Any corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, the motion or the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. Okay, I'd like to invite Mr. Reese to the podium for the EDC update.
Thank you, Mr. Stowe. Good afternoon. So in April, the unemployment rate dropped from 3.9% the prior month down to 3.5%. If you look at the labor force numbers, which remain steady at around 13,000, that represents a reduction of about 50 people unemployed. So it went from a little over 500 down to around 450 that were listed as unemployed in that report. Since the last time I was in front of you, we have received 6 different RFIs from the state. And so that has kind of picked up a good bit. 4 of those were either looking for a building or were looking for like really significant acres, several hundred acres, which we do not own in the industrial park. And so we didn't reply to any of those. There was a 5th one that was looking for a building. And generally when someone's looking for a building, almost always they're looking to only purchase a building. But this particular one said that they would be open to leasing a building. And we just happened a few weeks ago to have been in some discussions with some people that own what we refer to as the Edelman Building out at the corner of Bennett Drive and Industrial Boulevard. That building had been utilized for the last several years, but now it's being emptied up, and so they're looking at trying to lease that building out. And this particular request was looking for a building for 30 to 50,000 square feet. That's a 70,000 square foot building. It doesn't have real high ceiling height, but in this case, they weren't really looking for that. And so we worked with them and got their okay to market that building for this RFI, so we did submit that building to the state. They were looking for 30 to 50,000 square feet. It's a project that's looking at building, they manufacture stair lifts. They're looking at a $22 million capital investment, about 100 jobs. And they're looking at several states and all over Tennessee, but we did submit that building for that. There was another project called Project Lift. They are a rigging solutions company. They were looking for a building up to 800,000 square feet, but in their RFI, they did say that if they couldn't find a building, they would consider a greenfield site of 30 to 40 acres. And so we did submit lot 15 for that project. That's the 82-acre lot that's out on Tarpley Shop. And we told them we would be willing to subdivide that because we've put some plans in place before where that 82 acres could be subdivided up into 2 or 3 or 4 different sections. And so we could, we could meet that if we needed to. So those are the ones that we've gotten since the last time I was here. Site development grant update. If you've been out on Amos Hamlet, you started seeing some grading taking place. They started about a week or 10 days ago doing that. We do expect that project to be completed by late July, early August, depending on the weather, so that's moving along. Earlier this year, we started the process of recertifying our county through the 3-star program that's administered by Tennessee Economic Community Development. That's a program that allows, it just makes our community more marketable, not only from an industrial perspective, but when we're looking for grant money. There's some special grant money that's provided. We can also get discounts on matching parts of different grants if we're 3-star certified. And so that happens every couple of years. It's the first time I've been through the process because it's we had done it, I think, just before I started a couple of years ago. And one of the things that you do on that is you get some community leaders together, primarily the Economic Development Commission. We had some chamber people there, a few local business leaders, the mayors of the outlying communities, and Pulaski were invited to participate in that as well. And the state sends in somebody and they kind of mediate this process where you look at the assets in your community and which ones kind of rank most important with that group of 20 or 30 people. And then you start to put some goals around what you want to do to develop those assets on behalf of the community. The 3 that came out of this session, the first one was just kind of our outdoor space. And so one of the goals that came out of that was put together a master plan. Again, this is a county-wide effort. It's not just Pulaski, but it's Giles County-wide. And so it was to put together a master plan for how we leverage our outdoor recreational space in a way that not only benefits the people in our community, but hopefully could bring some people in from outside the community as well so we could bring some tax dollars into Giles County. We have already identified and applied for a grant to help us put that master plan together. It's a $97,000 grant, and there's no matching contribution required, so that would be fully funded through that grant process. So that's what's going on with that right now. The other one, the second asset that came up was our Interstate 65 corridor. And so from a short-term perspective, we identified exit 14 because that's the one obviously that's on everybody's mind right now. So that's the one that we identified as a short-term goal. And so we're doing some work around identifying what needs to happen as soon as that all gets cleared up, what's happening with that land. Some of you may have seen a post on social media that said that the auction was scheduled out a few weeks from now. I will tell you, because I'm married to one of them, that was a surprise to the heirs. There's still some steps that need to be taken before that is firmed up. Those are ongoing right now, and so hopefully I'll have some more information to share about that a little bit later. But once that property is auctioned off and we can kind of do an inventory of who purchases that, who owns it, then we're going to start to put together a plan around how that could be developed from a retail perspective primarily that could best benefit the county and draw the most sales tax dollars into the community. So still some work going there. The third asset that was identified as something strategic for us, and I know there's already some other discussions going on that, and it's really kind of a longer term one, but looking at how we can leverage the airport we have to really benefit our community and the region. You know, can we do something there that really brings more traffic into that airport and makes it more of a benefit for the region, and maybe can drive even people coming in, not only for manufacturing base, but tourism, entertainment, those kinds of things. So more work to do on that one. The last thing I want to mention is you've seen on the news that was announced that Morelli filed bankruptcy. I've had a lot of calls and questions about what that means for our community. I went out and met with the people at the site yesterday, and their understanding and what they shared with me is that this does not change the way that they will operate. It's a Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing, and so this really is just a bankruptcy that allows them to restructure some of their debt and continue to operate. And in fact, the local leaders told me that they've picked up a couple of new pieces of business, and they're actually out trying to hire people right now. So I think from a community perspective, there's not much to be worried about in the short term. If you want any more information on that, I have a link to a frequently asked questions section on their website that I'll be happy to share with you if you just shoot me an email or give me a call, that kind of lays out why they don't believe this is going to be a problem for the longer term, and they will survive this. And part of that is a mention of like a $1.1 million infusion they got, or debt restructuring, for them to be able to continue to operate as a company. I mean, it's more than just this site here, but corporate. So I feel pretty good about the information I got from them, and just want to pass that along. If you have any other questions, let me know. Anything from me?
Okay, thanks, Bill. Yeah, so the next thing on the agenda is public comment. So if you'd like to make a public comment about anything on the agenda, including the budget, just line up behind Commissioner Curry here. And we just would ask that you, I'm going to put the sign-up list with Ms. Curry. Can you sign people in before they actually get to the lectern? Thank you. There's a 5-minute, this is different than some of the public hearings you may have been to. This is 5 minutes, and Ms. Guthrie has a timer in front of you.
Hello, my name is Kathy Roberts, and I'm a citizen of Lisbon Prospect. Like Mr. Bador, I'm going to be in and out of pocket during July, so I wanted to make my comments today, just in case I do have to miss one of your meetings. Thank you for allowing me to speak about the proposed budget. I agree with Mr. Stowe that the current financial situation is not sustainable. I think anybody that has driven down like Bethel Prospect Road last month would see that. The county has unmet and unfunded needs, but I believe that more time is needed to find a viable solution to the problem of our revenue stream. We need some time to investigate alternative solutions such as grants or even municipal bonds, your wheel tax, whatever. I wouldn't take anything off the board at this point for some of the capital outlay. I would propose the following solution for handling the budget this year. I think step one you're going to do today, you're going to have to vote no on the budget tonight. Secondly, starting with the current operating budget, add a 2.5% increase per department for every operating expenditure. This is in line with the June inflation numbers of about 2.45%. And that will account for your increased costs. Third, approve a 2.5% property tax increase to cover that additional funding for this year. I think that's fair for taxpayers. We know prices are going up, and we know we're going to have to pay to play. Fourth, and I think this is the key to it, form a Tiger team of forward-thinking citizens, commissioners, and county employees to seek and find alternative funding sources so that we can allay some of these tax increases that we're looking at for next year. And 5, include these in next year's budget and approve a tax increase then to cover any shortfall. I'm aware that critics of this idea would say that my solution is just to throw the problem down the road again and kick the can down the road like we've been doing. But the Tiger team has a mandate and a deadline. Achieve the goal of sourcing additional funding by the next budget cycle or hand the citizens a tax increase next year. That's where it ends up. Now I'm looking at you fellow citizens to put up or shut up. Okay, let's quit complaining and get to work. But in order to do that, we need time. So please consider my strategy and take time to do a deep dive into alternative revenue sourcing. We have homework to do. Thank you for voting no tonight as a first step in the process to get this thing right. And thank you for considering my comments tonight.
Thank you.
My name is Leah Bailey. I do not support this 28% property tax increase. I keep bringing up items in the budget, and I will bring it up again today. When a proposed tax increase is on the table, I feel that means everything should be looked at again. Who knows, we may see patterns that can help avoid future problems. For the people at the public forum who were concerned about conflicts of interest and work being done in the county, this would also reveal any companies or businesses that may have conflicts of interest or other issues in regard to their doing business for the county. Are the projects being completed under budget? Are specific companies or businesses always over budget? Is their work good quality? Is it holding up? If applicable, what is the quality of work 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line? It's sad to see the distrust and sometimes anger between the officials and the public. I believe this all boils down to a lack of knowledge, transparency, and accountability. By keeping the public at a surface level knowledge about the budget will ask for more money, distrust builds. I've heard that, it seems that a new budget will be passed within a day's deliberation on July 3rd. I would ask to please don't rush the vote on this if it is sent back to committee. We'll end up right back in this situation at the end of July if we don't take time to do careful deliberations and cuts. I know the commissioners can't control how the department heads spend their budget, but what you can control is going through their line items and cutting money depending on what they've asked for. If there's $20,000 within a line item budget that you don't see the need for, subtract $20,000 from what they asked for. Then it will be up to them if they want to spend the money that they've received in that specific area bad enough to take it from other areas of their budget. However, this doesn't address the transparency and accountability within the public. If even one member of the public is questioning our financials, then we need to allow them to look for mismanagement. You say there's none, and that's great. I'm very happy to hear that. But this issue is destroying our community. If we allow people to look in depth and to share what they found backed up by research, once everyone has their questions answered, maybe the community will start to heal. As a member of the public, I have some questions simply for knowledge's sake. I've been poring over the line items and will have lots of questions I'll be asking in the future. Here's a brief sample of rounded numbers. Line item 55130-187, overtime pay under ambulance service of $888,000. How many people in this department could receive overtime, and how many would it be split amongst? Line item 55900-189, other salaries and wages under other public health and welfare, $264,000 in the proposed budget. Who is this for? Line item 62000-187, overtime under highway and bridge maintenance at $0 in the 23-24 audited, $39,584 in the 24-25 amended, and $42,503 in the proposed. Why did we have $39,584 in overtime in last year's budget, paving what we heard in the public forum was approximately 30 miles of road, and we are planning for the same in this year's budget if we're doing 70 miles of road with the same number of employees? Did we hire more? And on education capital projects, number 2, building improvements, line item 91300-707, we had over $9 million in the 23-24 audited and estimated $7 million in the, or $7.2 million in the 24-25, but amended it to $13.8 million with $6.5 million more in the proposed budget. So why was the approximate $6.5 million difference, why did that happen this year? and why 6.5 million next year? Now, I'm not saying anything nefarious was going on here, but I'm trying to explain what at least this member of the public sees and doesn't understand and wants to know more about. Since we are preparing for an audit, I believe we could tell that Beth will be very busy and her employees. If this budget fails, as I hope, and goes back to committee, I think July 3rd is way too soon to rush through another one. We should take the time to function on last year's budget and allow ample opportunity for the public to go to see Beth, see the documents, and get their questions answered. The broad line items are too limited in information to aid in decision-making. I think the line items should be itemized for any expenses over $5,000 for the commissioners and public to review at least 1 week before the next budget meeting. I think this information should include the number of bids on projects, maintenance, etc., and who won each bid. And finally, I would ask that another informal public forum be conducted before the next budget deliberation where the public can present their questions and concerns in a back-and-forth dialogue with their commissioners, so that the commissioners representing them can ask these questions on their behalf during the budget committee meeting. Thank you.
My name is Thomas King, and I live here in this county. I'd like to start off by saying I'm disgusted with 21 members right here and one head up there. We should not be right here at this point discussing this budget. Listen to what she just had to say. Okay, this should have been 2 months ago, first off. Second off, nobody's doing homework. Okay, I've called department heads and I've asked how many commissioners came and sat down with you, one-on-one, to discuss your budget. Who said? Okay. We elected people to do homework. You're not doing homework. You're taking numbers and you're looking at it, and we're here at a 28%, knowing that it's not going to pass. Many of you a week ago said it was going to pass, and most of you have backtracked since then. Okay. It's crazy that we've got to this point. You've got great department heads that we don't know if we need a tax raise or not. We don't know if we need property raises or not, do we? Because you haven't done your homework to know whether we need to be at this point or not. Here we are, we're fixing to pass it along into another year and doing a continuing budget when we should have been 2 months ago dealing with this thing instead of now. Will we lose some employees if we don't get some raises? There's a possibility, all right? It happens everywhere. Sometimes employees don't get a raises. I've worked for years and didn't get them. I've worked as a department head for a city for 2 departments, not here, elsewhere. I didn't get raises at times, and it hurts. But sometimes we've got to look at that stuff. A lot of you have not done your homework. I'll continue to repeat that. I'm very disappointed in 21 people and a department head sitting right up there. That we should not be at this point in Giles County right now. You've got great department heads that are trying to put this budget together. Yes, they're asking for what they think they need. That's where you should be taking that opportunity, sitting down with them one-on-one. You know, the most disgusting thing I had as a department head was when I had 5 people looking at me trying to approve a budget that they never talked to me about. They never went line by line trying to figure out what my budget was about. Yet, here we are. Out of 21 people, nobody took the time to do that. And you've got department heads that are up here trying to do what they can for their departments. And now we're facing 28%. Do we need a rate? Do we need a property tax raise? Who knows? We're too busy about bickering back and forth with one another on social media and backstabbing here, one making false comments over here. I support Terry. I do. I comment on him. But you know what? I also disagree with Terry. He'll tell you I get on there and disagree with stuff I think people put on there. Okay? I do. Some of you block me on Facebook, and that's okay. That you have that right. But that's why I'm up here to tell you. I'm very disappointed in you. You got employees that depend on you. They're disappointed in you because we get to this point, and now you're still trying to argue over this at this point right now. Okay? The man said right here when he was praying, we came into this world with nothing, and we leave with nothing. If y'all keep going like y'all going, y'all definitely going to make sure we leave with nothing in this budget. All right? We got a lot of people out here that can't afford this 28%, and we know that. A lot of single parents and a lot of folks in this world. I love each and every one of you because you're my brother in Christ. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm still disappointed in you, all right? I know some of you are probably gonna look at me and say, well, I've did my homework and I've did some things, and that's great, okay? I went to department heads, I didn't necessarily go other routes. And I've been through the budget myself, I've looked at it. There's a lot of opportunities in there, which is what really has got me disgusted, because most people did not want to reject this until a meeting happened at Richland High School. And boy, we're talking about some people change some attitudes real quick. So my opinion is, get your act together, start acting like a team instead of acting like opponents, okay? And let's do something great for this county. Let's come together as a teamwork and decide what we truly need instead of what you're doing now. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you.
Next order will be elections. First election is, only election is notary's public at large. We have the following re-elections. There are Caitlin K. Adcock, Kathy M. Bazan, Carla T. Brady, Marty C. Brooks, Jesse R. Busby, J. M. Butler, Laura Bennett, Bevan Collins, Zena Dickey, Paula J. Gatlin, D. Green, Christine L. Jenkins, Patricia T. Lockridge, Dusty A. Owens, Ramonia E. Randolph, Patrice L. Simmons, Massey, Allison B. Bennett. The new notaries are Christine Cash, Jennifer L. Daughtry, Clint D. King, Susan C. Nixon, Robert W. Pope.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion. Mr. Fedor. Motion approved. A second. From Shelley. Any comments or discussion? How many tablets are not working right now? Wow. Okay. Okay, we can deal with this without the tablet. Any comments or discussion on the notaries? Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Let me go work on some tablets. It's locked up, it says public comment.
Oh, no, yes, good. Wait until she,
And resident IT.
no, it should start when she says it.
Okay.
That's what mine was on, so she said.
Okay.
Requirement.
It should be set once we get back to another vote.
Yep.
Okay. All right, next thing. Okay, next thing on the agenda are reports. There was this first report that we delayed from last month. We'll do this separately. Is the Legislative Committee Rule 1 change, which was a proposal to have all of our meetings meet at 9 a.m. All full commission meetings meet at 9 a.m. on the third Monday. Currently, we are doing our fall and winter meetings in the morning and our spring and summer meetings in the evening, just as we are here today. So, floor is open for a motion. Mr. Long.
Motion approved.
And a second for Mr. Wilburn. Comments or discussion? Mr. Hopkins?
Motion to change to 5 PM year round.
I second.
Second.
Okay, so we have an amendment to the motion for 5 PM year-round from Mr. Hopkins, second from Ms. Curry. Okay, back to the old debate. Yes, Mr.
Can I refuse the amendment to my motion?
Sorry?
Can I refuse the amendment to my motion?
Well, this is a report that came out of the legislative committee. You all are allowed to make amendments to those, but
I'd like to amend it back to the 9 AM time frame.
okay.
We did talk about it all downstairs.
And we vote it down, and we'll go further.
Yeah, why don't we, that's a good idea. Let's vote on the 9 AM proposal. If it votes down, then we can look at a second motion for 5 PM. That's what you prefer. Mr. Reedy?
We really got two motions on the floor here.
Yeah, they oppose one another, but I'm trying to deal with the report that came out of the committee. Sir?
Does not the initial, the second amendment that's been made has to be voted up or down to get
Okay.
it out of the way.
Okay.
And then we'll go back to the original.
Okay, so we have an amendment to 5 PM. That was seconded. We'll vote on that first and then come back to the 9 AM.
Correct.
In accordance with the rules. All right. Any comments or discussion on the 5 PM year-round consistent meeting? Mr. Wamble?
This has been brought up several times, and I brought it back up this time. You know, months ago, we voted for a pay increase for the next city commission, not for ourselves. We did not vote ourselves pay increase, but for the next commission that's elected. And we did that because we said we wanted to increase interest in the public service on this committee, or this commission. By having two different times, 9 AM half the year and 5 PM half the year, we make it impossible for day shift or second shift employees to serve, because nobody works half a year in the morning and half a year in the afternoon. So if our goal was to make it easier for people in the public to run for these seats that we're sitting in, then it makes no sense to have two different meeting times. Second, all of our committee meetings are at 9 AM. So a 9 AM meeting time correlates with our committee meetings. For the public, we have maybe 6 to 10 committee meetings monthly, but only one county meeting. So the 9 AM committee meetings align with the 9 AM meeting time for the full commission. With 9 AM meeting times, we've had better attendance with county employees. So the 9 AM there again, if we're trying to make this job easier for our public to run for the seats we're sitting in, let's make it easy as we can for people to run against us, then we need to have a set meeting time, 9 AM, 12 months per year.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Rebelson?
Yeah, the reason we went to a split was to make it reasonable for the working people. And so, the majority, or I would say, at this commission, a lot of them wanted to keep it at the 9 o'clock. The reason we went back to the half and half is for those that work, it's not convenient for those to have a 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock meeting. The 5 o'clock is a better time. We couldn't get all of the 5 o'clock, so then we split it and said, you know what, let's get it where we can get the working men and women to be involved, to be commissioners, not only now, but into the future. It's more for convenience and availability for those now and into the future, and so that's the reason it's a 5 o'clock. I like 5 o'clock. I think I think it's convenient for all of those that continue to work. And I think we should keep it at that, or keep it at the half and half.
Mr. Butler?
Yeah, we talk about this all the time, and, you know, the 5 o'clock, that's what I prefer. I think 5 o'clock works better for most everybody. It's been put up that, well, what about people that work second shift? They can't get there at 5 o'clock. Well, that may be true, but the majority of the people in this county work first shift, not second shift. And also, the committee meetings, that's where we get our work done, is in the committee meetings. We don't work here. We work in the committee meetings. Then we come up here and confirm what we did in committee. And especially during this budget process, I have heard from multiple citizens that we can't get to your meetings because they're at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then we stack the committee meetings on one on top of each other, so we're there from 9 o'clock in the morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And that does not work for people that have regular jobs. And we've heard the argument of, you know, we can't see to drive at night, or we've got to go get the hay in, we can't come in the afternoons because it might rain, or something like that. But anyway, for the majority of the people in this county, I think 5 o'clock would work better. I know the citizens would like 5 o'clock better, especially for our committee meetings, which is where they can have the most input, where they can actually get to say what they want to say. So I don't agree with 9 o'clock at all. I've always wanted it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I think every meeting we have should be at 5 o'clock or even 5:30. That way we have the most participation possible. And there's also the argument, well, we moved it to 5, but people didn't show up. It's because we weren't working on anything that they needed to show up for. When we were, they did. Just like we got a room full of people here today because it's important to them. You know, that 5 o'clock just works better. I'm tired of this going back and forth, trying to get it back to 9 or trying to split. We need to go to 5 o'clock or later on every meeting we have.
Okay. Any other comments or discussion on this motion, which is to move all full commission meetings to 5 p.m.? Okay, please vote. A yes vote is to move meetings to 5 p.m.
Yes.
Mr. Wilbur?
What was we voting on? I thought.
Okay. There was an amendment to the 9 a.m. proposal, and we're voting on now.
I was voting on the original motion. I didn't change my vote then.
Okay. You want to change your vote?
Okay. You got it.
Good? Okay. And Mr. Reisner?
The vote is 14 ayes and 7 noes.
That's so this is a rule change, so it requires 2/3 support. 14 votes is 2/3.
Yeah.
Was that? So that passed. That passed. Excuse me? Yeah, it must be counting me. So, yeah, that passed. So 5 p.m. is the new rule change for full commission meetings year-round.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
David thought the same thing I did.
Okay, we can do a revote.
Explain what we're voting on.
I do that every time. I'll do it again. Okay, can you reset it for another vote?
Just change David's vote.
Jason changed it. I done changed mine.
Okay. We're setting it up for another vote. This is the amendment. Listen carefully. This is the amendment to move meeting times at 5 p.m. If you vote yes, you want full commission meetings at 5 p.m. A no vote means not meeting at 5 p.m. All right, please vote.
Now the vote is 12 ayes and 9 noes.
Okay, motion fails. It requires 14 votes to make a change to the rules. So we're going to go back to the original motion, which was a rule change to have all meetings at 9 a.m. That was what came out of the committee, and that's the motion that Mr. Womble originally made. Yeah. Any comments or discussion on a 9 a.m. meeting? Okay.
Curry? No. Dr. Latham?
Yes.
Ms. Woodard?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Wobble?
Yes.
Mr. Wilbur?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Guthrie?
Yes.
Mr. Reisner?
Yes.
Mr. Hawkins?
No.
Mr. Reedy?
No.
Mr. Savage?
No.
Mr. Butler?
No.
Ms. Jones?
No.
Mr. Rubelski?
No.
Mr. Baddour?
No.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton?
Yes.
Ms. Billsby?
No.
Ms. Pruitt?
Yes.
And Mr. Brown?
No.
11 ayes and 10 noes.
That fails as well. So the current rule stands. We're going to continue with 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. split between the seasons. Okay, there's 3 other reports from the finance director. There's a mutual aid bill, Public Chapter 193, and there's the financial management policies and procedures manual. I'll entertain a motion to combine or separate, however you'd like to proceed. Ms. Goolsbee?
I make a motion to combine.
Okay, is there a second? Mr. Savage. Okay, any comments or questions on these 3 reports? Okay, we're gonna have to keep doing voice vote. Are there any opposition to any of these reports? Yes, Mr. Wilbur.
I'd like to leave them separated for the public to understand what it's more about.
You'd like the public to know what?
For the people can understand more about what these reports are.
So you'd like an
Instead
extra?
I want them separated just like you are instead of combining them.
Okay, so there's a motion to have them separate, vote on them separately. Okay, second from Ms. Jones. Sorry, what am I messing up?
You've got a motion to combine right now and a second.
Yeah, so we need to vote on it and just, thank you. All right,
So,
I need a resident parliamentarian, thank you.
Sorry.
All right, so we have a motion in the second, and if you do not want to combine, just vote against that. Any other comments or discussion? We'll do a roll call.
Ms. Curry? Yes. Dr. Latham?
Yes.
Ms. Woodard?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
No.
Mr. Wobble?
No.
Mr. Wilbur?
No.
Mr. Adams?
No.
Ms. Guthrie?
Yes.
Mr. Reisner?
No.
Mr. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mr. Reedy?
No.
Mr. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
No.
Mr. Rubelski?
Yes.
Mr. Baddour?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton?
Yeah.
Ms. Gilsey?
Yes.
Ms. Pruitt?
Yes.
And Mr. Brown?
Yes.
14 ayes and 7 noes.
Okay, so the vote is to combine these reports. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the reports. Mr. Hopkins and Mr. Jones, any comments or questions on the reports themselves? Yes, Ms. Jones.
For the public's sake, would you give a little brief, 2 words on each?
2 words on each, okay?
2 words.
Can I ask you to do the finance reports?
All right, this one you've got 2 reports because the meeting was later in the month, so we were able to get April and May. So that's why you have both of those. Financial revenue report is showing what the cash balances was reconciling with the trustee. Any questions on those? Okay, the next one, I'm not sure what that is. That may be Carol's.
While you're there, do number our financial management policy.
Okay, so the policy procedures was updated, like I said, was last week, And that was just adding language in for the timekeeper software. Before we implement that, we needed to make sure that we had a policy and procedures in place as to how we were going to process that. Any questions on that? Good.
The state legislature passed what's called a mutual aid bill. We've had tragedies in other counties, and this is so that if, say, Lawrence County had a flood and they needed us to help them process their county clerk business, then if they come and request our help, then we are allowed to do that by the state legislature. So it's just a bill that they presented, and I presented it as a report.
Yes, Mr. Savage.
If you were to do work for another county, would you receive the fees associated with that, or would that go to the
I believe
county?
I would, now probably, of course, Lawrence County has a wheel tax and we don't, so I'm not sure exactly how that would work. I don't know if I'd be collecting their wheel tax and mailing them the check, or not sure how that would work. And this is just something, because we have had tragedies that happened and clerks had to help somebody. We just want to be prepared.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the reports? Okay. But is there any opposition to any of the reports? Can we do a voice vote? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Thank you. Reports are approved. Okay, we have one grant contract. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Yes, Mr. Hopkins. Is there a second? Mr. Reedy. Comments or discussion? Questions? Ms. Jones?
So this was to cover, this is during COVID, it was to cover some PPE supplies, am I correct?
I know. If there was a question, I told Josh I would look at it, so could you come to the podium, Josh?
So, yes. So what this was this is, it's been ongoing since COVID. Our office has worked, it seems like it's every day we're getting another RFI for this. Basically what's happened is we got several lump sums there towards the end, and then it kind of went away, and we didn't hear anything else from the state. The state hired a company to come in to close out all the COVID stuff, and they found that we hadn't been reimbursed for this yet, and that's what this is. So it's supplies. There's probably going to be another one coming hopefully soon for management costs. Basically, that's just where our office overseeing the COVID grant, all of everything COVID related. And so we got what they call management cost off of that too. So.
Okay. Do you still have some of these supplies, or?
So most of the supplies that we got in, we do have some suits and stuff like that, but a lot of that's already out of date. Because
how much do you expect for the management?
Do you remember?
Just in this contract?
No, it's not in the contract. It's the second one that's coming. I think it's like $2,500. It's not very much. Any other questions?
Thank you, Josh. Any other questions or comments on the grant? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, we have some budget resolutions that have been handed out. I'm going to ask Beth to just come to the podium and give you an explanation before you give a motion.
Okay, as y'all remember the last budget meeting, or one of the budget meetings, that I asked you all, you would be okay with doing like we did previously, doing the year-end cleanup budget amendments and just have them presented to you versus trying to get those done earlier when we still had to process and finish out our payroll. So the school board also had their meeting on Tuesday to kind of follow suit to make sure we're capturing all of our year-end payroll. And the reason why that's so important is because you have a lot at summer school and the school system. You have the unknown of overtime with EMS. So you want to make sure that you have all your salary lines in the black at your end, because that has an audit lining. So again, that's why we're presenting tonight, to make sure we have everything kind of cleared up on that. I will tell you, I can go through this like we would in budget, that's up to you guys, but I will tell you, just starting with the county, most everything I was able to go through within each budget category and try to clean it up, like sheriff jail and corporate security, I kind of combined those because they're all intertwined anyways. I did have one area that I just kind of struggled with today, trying to find the funds, but it is without any fund balance usage. Again, you all remember hearing me say this during budget about autopsies. We're gonna have to really address what we're having with autopsies. This budget amendment, we need to add another like $45,000 for autopsies. We're already in the red right now, plus we have an outstanding invoice sitting on Emily's desk for $13,000, and that was just for the month of May. So, again, but I was able to pull from other sources to be able to offset that. So that was one that I did have to kind of cross categories on. Most, like I said, strictly cleanup, nothing alarming, like I said, other than that. On the county, like I said, it's strictly cleanup. You may have questions about county, they're going too fast, you want to go through it, or are you good with it? Before they go on the highway. Okay, highway, same thing, sorry.
We're going to do these one at a time.
That's up to you, I just know Graham wanted me to kind of give an overview.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve, that was 2025-24, County General 101, and a second for Mr. Hopkins. Any other questions for Beth? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Beth. Max?
So the highway, same thing, there's not any money here, we're just moving funds from within. The biggest thing on this one is we've already stated through the budget process is that we're moving money into the asphalt hot mix, and we're taking it from the asphalt liquid. Again, and really on the highway budget, really there's not really anything that had to be approved, it's just, again, we wanted to kind of make sure we had every line cleaned up. Again, no fund balance usage. You might have any questions on that one?
Mr. Hopkins, motion to approve. Second for Mr. Rebelski. Any other questions on Highway Fund 131? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. And next?
Okay, next is the school. The school, we do have some usage of fund balance, but I will kind of get to that explain. We have several grants that we need to align with the state. A lot of times in June, the state will kind of have those sent out, and we want to always make sure that what our budget is exactly what the state grants are. That's what the first few items are. It's just aligning with those. Most of this is going to be also just cleaned up from within the category. We do have the one, it's towards the bottom of the first page, it says science textbooks. Dr. Beard and I talked about this, and the school board, we wanted to go ahead so they can purchase, go ahead and place the order in for textbooks. For them, it makes a big difference on being able to have that 3-week lead time to go ahead and make those the order versus trying to wait again into July and actually then have the funds available and then place the order. That could really potentially mess up having textbooks when school starts. We will probably have to roll this particular PO over, but at least that gives them the authority to be able to go ahead and place the order. So that is the only usage of fund balance on this particular one. So you'll see it again in July on the cleanup. We roll things over. And the rest of it is just all from within category. Anybody have any questions on that one?
Is that a motion? Motion approved by Ms. Pruitt and a second by Ms. Brown. Any other questions for Beth? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Beth. Okay, the next order of business is Resolution 2025-27, naming a bridge on Pigeon Roost Road over Pigeon Roost Creek to the James Robert Red Newton Memorial Bridge. Mr. Brown, motion to approve, and a second by Ms. Schoolsby. Any comments or discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Yes, Mr. Hopkins. Sorry?
Opposed.
I'm sorry. We'll do a roll call. I need to. So let's use your tablets to vote, please. You think it'll work? Okay.
Vote is 20 ayes and 1 no.
Okay, motion carries. Now we're back to the tabled motion from Mr. Rubelski, which was to reject and send back to the Budget Committee resolutions 28, 29, and 30, which are FY 25-26 budget resolutions, and meet on July 3rd in a work session at Budget Committee. Did I restate that motion? Okay. And we already have a motion and a second on that. We're just bringing that back after it's tabled. Is there any other comments or discussion on this? Just stand by, please. Okay, please vote.
Could you restate that, please?
Restate the motion? Okay. The motion is to send all these budget resolutions, 28, 29, and 30, reject them, send them back to the Budget Committee and a work session to be held on July 3rd. And a yes vote is to reject. Okay? Mr. Jones?
Yeah, on my tablet it says 25-28, on my paper, the 25-28 is for non-profit charitable organizations.
Yes, because she's built her agenda around, she's already got 28 in here. Her minutes will reflect the fact that this is about rejecting the proposal. Do I need to restate the motion, or are we okay? Yes, Mr. Wong?
Did you make this motion? His motion was to amend the agenda. Are you making a motion here?
No, no. Yeah, the motion was tabled. The motion, the original motion was to reject these 3 resolutions, send them back to the Budget Committee to meet on July 3rd. I just restated the motion. Yes, sir.
My understanding of the motion was not to approve the agenda.
Okay, let's start over. Mr. Rubelski, would you like to make a motion?
Somebody else, I want to make one too.
Okay.
I want
The floor is open for a
I want
motion.
to go ahead and go over a vote on this right here to see who's for it, who's against it.
Okay. There's a motion to go through and vote on resolutions 28, 29, and 30. Is there a second? Second for Mr. Wong. Okay. Any comments or discussion on that, Mr. Brador?
Did that motion just skip line, essentially? I don't know that it's not an
I
amendment.
opened the floor for a motion.
You were asking him to restate his motion, and then Tracy.
I mean, it's a tabled motion. A tabled motion is brought back forward and it's still active. Sorry, Mr. Hopkins?
You brought it back up.
Yeah.
And it should be voted on.
Yeah.
You already avoided voting on it once. We
Yeah.
shouldn't have
This
had
is the second time you've been very helpful. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, I need help sometimes. So, yeah, so this was a tabled motion and we're bringing it back to be voted on. And if this motion fails, then we'll automatically have to go back and work through the resolutions. Okay, if you want to speak, please sign up here.
No, go ahead.
Mr. Wong, go ahead.
The motion was to amend the agenda.
No.
No, that's not true.
No.
That's not true.
I made the motion.
Sir?
I made the motion.
You made the motion?
I made the motion to table.
He made the motion to table.
Table means we take the motion and it's second, and you table it, and you handle it before the meeting ends. You can't postpone, you handle it before the meeting ends. So it's a valid motion that was made up front. And the only reason I did that was in order to leave these items on the agenda so the public could speak.
Yes, sir.
It's just a parliamentary procedure.
Your motion was to hold that motion in abeyance,
Right.
and that's what the table.
So we need to cover that motion. Now, somebody wants to
amend that.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Savage. Don't vote yet, we don't even, please.
All I want to do is vote against the budget. I don't know why we're trying to make it take 45 minutes to take a vote. I would like to request that everyone drop their motions. Let's address the agenda in order, and let's vote, and stop making it more complicated than it needs to be.
Yes, we're making simple things complex at this point. So, is everybody who has a motion on the floor willing to just work our way through the agenda, work through these resolutions? Any opposition to that?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, the whole reason for the motion is to save time. The people have spoken, commissioners have spoken. They said, hey, we need more time to think about this. I've received texts, emails, personal phone calls of people saying, hey, we need to have further discussion about this. All I'm trying to do is to say, you take each one of these resolutions here that I sponsored. I said, I'm taking that away. We'll do away with it. I let Mr. Reedy's motion take place because ultimately all he wanted to do was allow the people to speak. That's fine. But the motion ultimately is not to continue to rehash things over and over, because let's go ahead and just say, send it back to the budget committee. The budget committee, what they do, they may not get individually one-on-one with each department head, but they present their budgets to all 21 commissioners that are present. So that is the clarification for that one person.
Okay. Yep, that was the
Make
original
it-
motion, that's what
make
was
it easy.
tabled.
It
And
was
that's what
also
we need.
brought up, there would also be a public hearing. This resets everything.
Yep.
We go back to July the 3rd. We meet from 9 until 3. If we can't meet then we meet on the 7th and 8th to continue to deliberate and talk about those things. Once we feel like we've got that, then we would put it up, post it for a public hearing for all the public, then to be present and speak. And then again, whether we move it from the 21st due to time, if it needs to be 23rd, 24th, then we will do that.
Okay, so as sponsor of these three resolutions, you have the right to make this, restate your motion, please, and we're gonna go ahead and vote on it.
Yeah. Ultimately, send it back to the budget committee for further deliberation.
And that's resolution 28, 29, and 30.
That is correct.
Okay, who was the second on that? That was Ms. Curry. Okay, we're gonna vote on that. All right, or any other comment or discussion on that one point? Yes, Mr. Wolf?
Would it not be the same difference if we went through just like he said, line by line, vote against it? Would it not be the same process? Would it not go back to?
Yeah, but all really ultimately what he's doing is sponsor of these three resolutions is combining them into one vote so that you can all say no and send it back to.
That's not.
That's what he's
what you're doing.
Well, then vote against it, Tracy, because that's what the motion is.
It's not going to show who's for this budget or against it.
I disagree. I think if somebody is for this budget, then you vote no to send it back.
And, I mean, Tracy, I get what you're trying to prove, but like honestly, nobody that was gonna vote yes is gonna vote no at this point. Like, we all know it's
We don't
gonna
know
fail,
that.
so we're sending it back to committee.
And what are you gonna do with the same?
Okay, so we're gonna vote on this proposal. A yes vote is you're sending it back to the budget committee, which means you're rejecting this budget. A no vote means that you like the budget as it is, and you'd like to go ahead and vote on it. Okay? Are we ready? Okay, people are voting.
So clarification, voting yes sends it back.
Voting yes sends it back. Sir?
I thought, no, means that we're sending it back.
A yes vote means that we are rejecting the budget and sending it back.
Okay.
And Mr. Adams, waiting on you.
vote is 20 ayes and 1 no.
Okay, so 20 people are voting to send this back to the budget committee, rejecting this budget. Okay, yes, Mr. Wilbur?
I really don't see no reason to send it back to the budget chair was wanting to, he put on a motion to put a 28% tax increase and a wheel tax.
Okay, so we're gonna start July 3rd.
I know when we're gonna start, I didn't heard it.
As a work session, not as a budget committee. Here's what we need to get away from, and Mr. Reedy brought this up to me earlier. Our budget committee is 7 people. Y'all are 21. We've got to get a majority of people on board with the budget. So we need to kind of come together in a work session, sort out a majority opinion on where we need to be with the budget, and then reconvene the budget committee. And if it doesn't happen in one day, then we'll reconvene. Yes, Mr. Sutton, sorry.
Mr. Rebelski, where do you plan this meeting to take place? I'm not trying to be funny or anything like that. I just want to know where.
Where?
Yes.
We'll do July 3rd, it'll be here.
Well, I haven't checked with Ms. Green.
Well, if it's clear.
Yeah, I've got to check with the court system. Right now, I've got it temporarily set up in the boardroom, but I need to, I will do it here if I can get it cleared. So, no, yeah. Okay, so the next order of business is Resolution 2025-31, approving the uncollectible patient accounts for the Giles County Ambulance Service. This was addressed in the Financial Management Committee recently. And the resolution is drafted. It's the last resolution in your packet. Motion from Ms. Curry. Is there a second from Mr. Rebelski? Any comments or questions on this? Yes, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, I thought we just done this last year and got it caught up, and then in the financial management, we found out that there was still some from the past that was brought back up again. Is that?
Yeah, you're on the weren't you in the financial management
No,
committee?
I was sitting on the side.
But you were there, I mean.
I was there.
Yeah, we discussed that.
Yeah.
That's one
After we approve these, we're going to still have some more.
Yeah, every year we're gonna see more of these.
Talking about from years ago. We had some that, when we done it last year, you know, we went back for several years because we talked about that. And now we've just had some in financial management. Is this going to get us clear from?
No. So every year you're going to have write-offs. Unfortunately, there's always going to be patients who don't pay bills. So we have a billing company and we also have a collection company. So when the collection company exhausts all accounts statutorily, so what we do is we don't write anything off unless the company has written them off in terms of what the statutes are. We leave them open until then. So annually, and I think we made it clearly addressed that we were going to try to do it every June because we get it off the books before I actually have to close the books. Well, we'll always have these before you with ambulance write-offs, unfortunately. So what you're looking at and what was discussed in financial management is just one fiscal year's worth of write-offs. And it's for $421,471.36. Again, that is patients that did not pay, and there's nothing we can do. Well, there's only one other option we can do, and that would be litigation. And it's been very unanimous that the financial management committee has no desire to do that. So you'll still see this again annually, year after year, unfortunately. Anybody else have any questions about that?
Any other questions before we go to a vote? Please vote.
The vote is 21 ayes.
Motion carries. Okay, I'm not aware of any unfinished business. Anybody have any unfinished business? Okay, is there any new business? Yes, Mr. Hopkins.
This may be somewhat self-serving, but My youngest son, who's Samuel Hopkins, won a nationwide, or got second place in a nationwide writing or essay contest, and I just want to recognize him for that. He would be here tonight for that, but he's a BPS, so.
Good for him.